Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about growth hacking and let's start with the definition.
Maxim, this is my lovely skill, but I have no chance to teach people in school of troubleshooters because my partner Daniel Schmidt, he think that maybe we are not well prepared for it. But anyway, it was a time when I was thinking how to be a hacker, and I created a so-called hacker editor for hackers with a large amount of features. And it was a time when I was looking in some dictionaries, what is a hacker? And hacker, it was an old-fashioned word for people who were butchers, мясники,
Butcher.
butcher. And if this butcher would cut for pieces cow, he would call as hacker. So hacker is to крушить, кромсать.
Crush.
To crash, yes. So I was thinking, how funny. But then I understand that sometimes hackers in our modest modern life, there's people who could make some tricky workaround. For example, it was time, like, I don't know, 30 years ago, I was sitting on my very slow computer in Kyiv Polytechnical Institute, and suddenly my professor came with two guys from Motorola, and they were starting to, trying to run a huge plate with 64 Motorola DSP 96002 transmitters. And it doesn't work. And they were quite angry and they leave for a lunch. I came to this computer and understand it wouldn't work because it require DOS version 5.0, but we have 3.0. And suddenly I realized I could fix it. And I put in the memory, in some cell of memory, not 3, but 5. And when they came, they were happy to find that I was fixed it up. But this was very easy. This was completely hacking way. When we talk about growth hacking, this is how to find a way to do something in a very fast mode. For example, when I was leaving a company where I was working for 20 years, I was thinking, who will ask for me? I am nobody on the free market, and I run to fill my profile in LinkedIn. In a very short time, I became most famous person in LinkedIn in 2014. Why? Because I was using all my knowledge, and I created several tools with Excel, with Word, and so on, to be more заметный,
Visible.
to be more visible. And this was my way how to show what is growth hacking.
And when it comes to growth hacking, it's basically, like understanding what kind of thing, not unusual ways you can do, but like how do you approach to, like defining, analyzing the problems, and maybe understanding all of the things that it consists of, and then looking for some sort of like a shortcuts.
First, you should understand that you never could copy what was done by other people. For example, it was time when my wife, she was not happy after her day in dentistry because she were working for some other company, and I told, let's build our own dentistry, and she was terrified. How we can make it? And I told her, okay, come on. I was learning in company in London how to build bank branches. I could build a company which would be looking like a dentistry, but I will make it as a bank branch. If you will come to our dentistry next time, let's imagine this is a bank branch, and you'll understand, yes, it's match. So you could use all your knowledge to make something familiar, but not similar. This is the way how growth hacker thinks.
And actually, you touched on an interesting area. So the more things I learned from the School of Troubleshooters, I realized that all of the sudden everything is become like connected. And for example, you can use something from biology in your IT, you can use the law and economics or anything else, meaning that you probably need to be very observant and be able to connect all of the different dots. It comes to like picking up like what kind of things to choose in order to synthesize the new solution, what kind of mindset you need to have in order to solve such problems.
There are just several dots which should be connected in your life. First, never never be greedy to pay the money. You could read the books, you could think by yourself, but if you have a chance to pay for someone, use this chance. My wife, several years, she were angry because I was often making paid calls to some very famous people and I was paying them a lot of money. But in this 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I will gain a large amount consumable information. Third, if you have a problem, just use more time. Do not go to bad mood. Do not be sad. Do not think that nobody could solve and your life is ended. There is a saying in Russian language, everything is built by people. If they could, I also could. And third thing, and how Groushacker thinks, this I could do to show everyone that this was unsolvable. And unsolvable is just a sign of future success, not sign to stop.
And maybe it's also connected to the one of the phrases that I'd heard recently that said like no is just like the beginning of the dialogue. So when it comes to like using growth hacking, probably it's mostly famously known like in the marketing or like any business areas, but like try to look at it maybe from a different point of view first. So for example, when it comes to personal life or like a career or any relationship, like whether it's even applicable or like this is something that you, to be honest, don't want to hack.
Yes, you should be very careful about this. If you will try these tricks with your family, it wouldn't work. People do not like to be used. So better to be honest and to be warm heart and open minded. But if you work, for example, in marketing, if you work in product, you could use any features to attract people or customers to your business, to your deal, to what you do. So, for example, it was a case we need to approach to some very famous people, and it was not easy. And we print a lot of fake dollars and put them in fake Louis Vuitton bags, and we sent to these guys very funny postcard with 1 million fake dollars. And everyone was answering, yes. If you will make it in second time or third time, you will think it's a cheap trick. But if you will make it for the very first time, a lot of different newspaper will write about this.
And when it comes to, how structurally feed growth hacking in a company, for example, should it be a specific department of very like entitled people who is acting like a special force, or maybe you can do it like in your own sector, but just like using slightly more resources or even without the ones, and how to, you make a decision like what exactly you want to proceed and whether you actually need anyone's approval or you do like it in the guerrilla mode.
When I was working in McKinsey in Frankfurt, I was having two bosses. One of them was economist, another was technicians, and they were calling me for some meetings, and a big part of it were conducted in German, and I couldn't understand maybe 20% of it. But suddenly they were all switching to English, and they were asking me, but in a very specific way. They were saying, like this was a program. Let's imagine you have a program. This program do like this, and this. What you will do in case to break it? And I was telling them, and for me it was very easy. They were looking at me attentively, then look each to other, and we are saying, okay, we are happy. Your answer is very helpful. And I was thinking, but they asked me about program, and I told them how to break a program, but how they could use this knowledge in real life. But suddenly, after several days, I was put in a special mailing list, and they were writing, with help of Oleg, we succeed with such a client. And I was thinking, maybe this is small intro to this talking. Let's think as a program. It was a way how to break everything. So if I will use the same style with you, you will be a great growth hacker. So never think about program, think about model of the program.
And this is actually a really funny way to actually look into the things instead of thinking of, I would say, like a human-centric terms. You could look into like a completely different disciplines or maybe apply multiple lens or dimensions. And hence, suddenly you will see this right answer or right path into the numbers or maybe into the charts, and then your name will be mentioned on the special mailing list of the winners. My last question will be how knowing about growth hacking could help to make this world a better place.
To be honest, this is my way how to gain the money. Everyone thinks how I do my money. I never have too much money from learning from my job, but if it is a time when nobody could solve the problem, a lot of people who will approach me, and in this case, for 1 or 2 hours, for one sentence, or maybe for one paragraph, I will be paid in the sum of fancy jeep. And the reason is, if you know a lot of different niches about markets, about countries, you should understand how it could be sold, for example, in oil pumping, or for example, in crab nesting, or in jewelry. And you will find that not too many people could go through the borders. They live just in small boxes. You should understand that there is just one role in the life which will make you great. This is role of ключник,
Keykeeper.
keykeeper. If you have a lot of keys for different doors, you could just look in it and you will see if there any answer for me. No, I will go to another door. But a lot of people, they have just one or several keys from office and from home. It's not enough.
Собирайте ключи знаний и решайте нерешаемые задачи. А мы рассмотрели навык гроусхакинг и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира!